Hey guys, I'm Scott, that's Michael. Today we wanted to talk a little bit about the weather at Lake of the Ozarks. And as much as we like to have a lot of fun, obviously talking about real estate and bedrooms and bathrooms and docks and the lake life, at some point in time when we are talking to you, you're asking questions about, hey, what's the weather like? And tell us about the seasons and what should we expect? And felt like now is probably a pretty good time to talk a little bit about the weather because we're coming up to the end of the summer.
Yeah.
It's about to be fall, right? We're about to move into winter and so on. And so fun little topic, just share some information on, again, what's the weather kind of like. And Michael, no better person, has been 50 seasons down here at the lake. He's seen all the weather. He's literally the smartest guy here at the lake. So summertime is obviously the big draw and attraction, but I don't know, personally, moving into fall and winter, is almost one of my favorite times. So
yeah, I would agree.
But what's the summers like here, man? Obviously, everybody talks about the humidity and the heat. What are we expecting?
Well, the beautiful thing about the lake, and I tell people this all the time, this is 10 out of 10 question, everybody, is we have all four seasons, which is amazing, right? And the season pattern has changed so much that early boating season is like March 15th, and we boat all the way through into early November. It's wild, right? But a couple things to take note. As we are wrapping up summer, we're gonna go into the fall. Scott, I would argue that September, October, maybe early November might be my favorite time of year down here. The weather's amazing in the daytime. The eye-popping color of the trees as they fall, right? So you've got a few things, and I like to break it into quarters, right? So that first quarter of the year is definitely a little bit cooler, but believe it or not, probably from a weather standpoint, from a bad weather standpoint, it's really the month of February. Typically the locals kind of travel in February, right? January's not bad. March, actually, it's breaking already. I mean, March 15th, boats are getting de-winterized. Some of the restaurants start to open slowly, right? Then we get into that second quarter. And one of the big questions we get is around the humidity, right? And though we are in the Midwest and we are on a lake, honestly, it's a 60-day window of humidity. I tell people June 15th to about August 15th. And you can almost set your watch by that, and it just breaks real quickly. And during that 60-day window, it's summertime. It's great. You're out in the boat, you're in the pools, you jump in the lake, and that's how you kind of beat the heat, right? And then you get into that dead of summer where we are now, right? And we're getting ready to roll right into that fall where you can have these nice warm days, sunny days, you know, and the nights are starting to get cool, right? You also have a different level of sports too. So you've got kayaking in the wintertime. You've got a lot of fishing will happen as we get later in the year because it's just too hot this time of year, right? So really there's a 90-day total of weather that I would say, hey, are a little bit of a challenge, right? Especially if you're not used to the humidity and especially if you're not used to the cold. But once people kind of get their head around that and understand that, it does make it really mild year round. Fun fact, when you amortize it out, the year-round weather on average is only it's like 41 degrees in the winter.
Crazy.
It's not bad.
No.
It's really not bad. And we don't get a lot of snow, right?
Correct.
Just a little bit of ice here and there, but no big deal.
And I think that's a key component, right? You do have 4 seasons, and we have clients and we've talked to folks that are in the northern states like Michigan and Wisconsin, and they have very harsh winters, right? And they're looking for a relocation where they still get seasons, but they don't have the heavy snowfall and the freezing ice and all of that stuff. And just some people, right, they don't want to go even further south because then you really don't have seasons anymore. It's just always year-round nice, which there's nothing wrong with that. But for some of us, right, we still like the change of seasons. We like a little bit of a cooler weather. I agree, like the fall time frame here is amazing, right? So you got to think that you're nestled into the Ozark Mountains and it's big hills and it's big trees and all of those are going to turn yellow and red and orange, and it's phenomenal fall colors around here. So just from a scenery perspective, it's a gorgeous, right? It's like a screensaver everywhere you look. And then one component to think about in the fall, right? Just like all the other seasons around here, you're gonna have probably different responsibilities that you're gonna have to handle. And one thing in the fall is going to be all those gorgeous leaves are going to fall, right? So they're going to fall, and then obviously there's a cleanup process that has to happen. You're either raking all these up into a pile to where you can burn them in your backyard or burn them around your property. Or what we've recently discovered is you kind of get them into a pile, and then the guy will come with a big hose and he'll just suck them all up. That way you don't have the burn marks in your backyard as well.
Absolutely.
But leaf cleanup is a thing.
It's a thing. Right, the other thing that happens at the lake is the lake commission that manages the lake, which is Ameren, they do the winter drawdown. So the winter drawdown in the lake is about 7 feet. So regardless of where you are on the lake, it's about 7 feet. So then
what he just said is they're gonna drain the lake.
Yeah.
Drawdown means they're gonna drain the lake and lower the water.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, go ahead.
In preparation, not only for weather, right, but in preparation for the spring rains.
Yep.
So it's interesting, as we see the lake go up and down, we can almost know when the rains are coming within about a week, right?
Yep.
And so in March typically is the wettest month. We typically get a lot of moisture in March, is you'll see that lake rise to full pool, right, with the top level, which Ameren manages that for the entire lake, right? So certain times of the year, which is the winter months, there's maintenance that we do on our docks during that time of year, sometimes on the seawalls. I think when we do a dock and seawall video, maybe we'll talk a little more about that.
100%. So, Ameren controls the water level at the lake. You think about the Bagnell Dam, that's where they're letting the water out.
Yep.
And you have to control that flow depending on the seasons that you're in. You can 1000%. I think Ameren guarantees, we call it pool, full pool, guarantees that from Memorial Day to Labor Day for sure. But as we start to get into the back half of this summer and we start to get into fall, you'll start to see the water level start to creep down slowly. And that's an indication hey, you're moving into fall and it's about to be winter. But again, a great component, right? So in the fall, you got to clean up all those leaves and do your yard maintenance. It's a thing, you're gonna have to do it. Once you move into the winter, when that water level is down, a lot of people will go out and do the work on their docks and do the seawall work and repair the things that need to be repaired. And you're kind of hanging out through the winter. I think another component that most of you need to understand is, again, this is a tourism area, right? Tourist destination. Memorial to Labor, it's the peak season. All those bars and restaurants are opened up and you're having a lot of fun. Well, shifting into wintertime, those favorite bars and restaurants might be shutting down. So there's a lot of that tourism attraction stuff that shuts down during the wintertime.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that that falls outside that 100 days of summer. Ironically, there are a handful of them that are open year round. Right? And so we have found those that are year round, and it's actually kind of fun to go sometimes in the middle of winter to a lakeside restaurant. It's a whole different experience. Yeah,
and I think as more and more people are choosing to relocate permanently, and this lake is getting more full-time year-round residents, and they're getting more things to do year-round, right? There's a lot of commercial development that's coming in that is open year-round. You're starting to see some of those favorite lakeside restaurants and bars actually stay open as well. So just depends on where you are and what bar and restaurant you like, but ebbs and flows of the season, they might close, they might stay open. So it's obviously important that when you're thinking about relocating or purchasing a second home, you're doing your research, you're gathering as much information as you can. If this is a permanent relocation, great. If this is a second home, great. Weather is always a topic of conversation. And just as much as you get your real estate questions answered, is we want to help answer every other question around this area too. So the things to do and the pros and cons, and obviously weather typically comes up in conversation. I think what we love about this area is you do get the 4 seasons, right? So you do have a change of pace. It's not just board shorts and flip-flops all the time. And if you're retiring, and some people want to retire in Florida or Texas because it's always warm, I feel like board shorts and flip-flops in December and January doesn't seem right to me.
Feel right.
But you get all 4 seasons without the heavy, harsh winters of a ton of snow and a ton of ice. But you got the change of seasons, right? So fall, it's beautiful with the leaves. They'll fall, you gotta clean them up. You get into the winter time. Yeah, winter is it's kind of boring, it's kind of blah. There's no leaves on the trees, but it does calm down. It's a little bit more peaceful. It's easier to get around the lake. Your bars and restaurants aren't as busy as they once were, but it gives you an opportunity to do some repairs on your home, your dock, your seawall. Get ready for springtime, and springtime is super cool too because you can feel the buzz, right? You can feel the vibe, and the lake starts to wake up, and people start getting their boats de-winterized, and you know summertime is coming. And then obviously when it's summertime, man, it's hot, it's humid, it's Midwest, it is what it is, but man, you got a big ass lake behind you to jump in and cool off and flow and have a lot of fun with your friends and family. So what other questions you have about the lake, the weather, the pros, the cons, the whatevers, obviously that's why we shoot these. We love making the videos. We love more to connect with you and answer all your questions. So call, text, email, let us know what we can do. Till then, we'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.